So let me start the session. So I want to thank you all for coming on for this great opportunity that's been presented to us by my business associate, Max Leon, who is the asset manager for this project, the Karimun storage terminal. And I'm just going to let Max give a little quick introduction of himself and the project. And those that are not talking, I suggest you put yourself on mute so we don't have any background noise, which can, for some people, can be distracting. So thank you very much. So Max, I'll hand it over to you so you give a quick intro of yourself and on the project concern. Thank you very much, Max.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Leong. So for start, happy to talk to everyone, and then in advance, happy New Year, Chinese New Year to all. Now, I'll give a short introduction to the Karimun. Now, Karimun is an island of Singapore, which is about 40 kilometers away. We are building a storage terminal facilities there. Now, firstly, the location is fantastic. It is facing the Strait of Malacca. Now, we have upgraded or rather reviewed the design that the project owner, who are Singaporean, to look at it efficiently to see that whether whatever is now on paper works or not. So we have actually improved it and bring down the cost to roughly about between $1 billion to 1.2. Roughly the capacity is going to be 2 million cubic meter. The whole project will take about 3 years to complete, but as it progresses, whichever part is completed, we will open it for operation, so to create the revenue as it goes along. But the total completion will be in 3 years or 36 months. And the return at this moment we are looking at will be, when it starts, after 3 years, is above the 20%. So I would see it as a very good investment for whoever is coming in as an equity partner. Now, as for equity partner, at this moment, we are one of them. I'm running a fund in China called, based out of Hong Kong, called the Penta. You may have heard of it before. Now, in Singapore, we are doing it with Ares. Now, Ares itself is, the founder are mostly connected or very well connected with the Indonesian government, or especially the next president of Indonesia. So I think I can give you so much. As for details, I think within these coming days, we should be able to get the improved or the revised project teaser out so that everyone could have a better look at it. So I think that's all. So if you have any questions that you would like to raise, please do. I will try my best to answer it. If not, then I get the talk to the project owners and come back to you.
Thank you very much, Max, for that brief introduction on yourself and the project. Sean, I am glad to see you back on with us, and hopefully your audio is all set up. Obviously, Max, also, I think previously I mentioned to you, Max, the storage terminal already has customers lined up. He's received, letters of take up predominantly from Chinese government that will take up the oil and the LNG that will go through the storage terminal. So pretty much the project is guaranteed to be successful and profitable. Max is also, as he mentioned, his relationship with the Indonesian government is extremely, let's just say, at the highest level. And they will also be working on this new capital city, which was officially announced last week publicly, that the Indonesian government passed a law that will move the new capital from Jakarta to Borneo Island. Max and his group are also closely associated with that. So I just wanted to bring those 2 points up. So thank you again, Max. So I'm going to hand it over now to Sean, who's the partner which I discussed on this, and his partner was Mary, who are both very interested in this project. So Sean, hopefully your audio is working. So let me pass it over to you to give a quick introduction to yourself, and then pass it over to Mary so she can introduce herself as well, and then discuss what interest you both have for this specific project. So thank you, Sean, over to you.
Sure, Dr. Yang, thank you so much. I just caught the tail end of Max's introduction, so it's a pleasure to meet you as well. I've worked with Mary and a handful of other individuals sourcing capital for different projects and lining them up. And when I met Raphael, the contact through Dr. Ying's, we were working on asset monetization and exploring a lot of large offerings. And this one seemed a very sincere, serious project. For those projects like that, I would go to Mary Speck. She's running a Speck Capital, and she's been in the industry for well over 2 decades. We've worked in a handful of projects together over the last couple of years. And I thought that if you're going to go something big, she has a lot of institutional investors. She has a lot of contacts. I do too outside of this, but I wanted to start pivot on her first, get her feedback, see the project, and then see what we can do as far as our internal network. And then if there's any difficulties or we need to extend that, I can continue opening up. That's pretty much it.
Well, thank you very much, Sean. I really appreciate that. And Mary, could you give a little intro to yourself, and then we can maybe do some Q&A and see, how we can move this forward and upward between this little group. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thank you, and Max, nice to be speaking with you here this morning. Thank you for accommodating my schedule. I know it's starting to get late for you. As Sean was saying, we do work in different capacities to source capital. Sean did age me a little bit. I don't quite have over 2 decades year of experience, but I am nearing that. So thanks, Sean. But most of my experience comes with working with investment committees of different types of institutional investors, and we also have some private investors as well. And most of my questions were related to the changes as cost were decreased for the project down to the 1.2 billion US dollars. So I know from the original video that I saw, from investors, you were only looking for about half the capital of about 1 B. Of that 1.2 B now, how much do you need to get phase 1 going?
Max, could you answer that question? Thank you.
Okay, now, thanks, Mary, for the questions. For 1.2 B, we are still looking at revise it to about between 400 million to 500 million to kickstart the project, and hopefully the rest are basically supported by the banks. We have spoken to the banks already. The banks are quite positive about it, so it's basically the kick up, or the startup capital that we need.
Okay, fair enough. And I would say that the banks should feel positive on this. I think the location is great, and I think it's great that you already have interest from other parties to offload product from the facilities once they're operational. For the type of investors that you preferred, are you looking for more of private investors, family office investors, or would you prefer a private equity firm? Is there any preference that you have that would complement any of your other investors well?
No, we don't really have any restrictions, or rather it's the other way around, because the project itself is very very much geared to Chinese clients. So basically, the state-owned enterprise, like Sinopec, CNPC, all these big
Mhm.
boys coming down to pick up the the space or the storage. China Petrol. No, our project is very much similar to the one that is currently in Singapore running, called the Universal Terminal. You can actually Google it and check. Now, because of the lack of storage space around this region, and everybody is trying to stock up rather than to put it or store it on the vessel during this COVID times. So storage, whoever owns storage space is basically, on the winning side. So the Chinese recognize it. I think politically, this region, it is also a bit sensitive because, as Singapore is very, close to our U.S. airlines. So the Chinese, do not want to be, squeezed right at the bottom neck. If you look at the map itself, so this project basically serves the Chinese very, very well. Now, I myself, to tell you, I have stayed in China for the past more than 20 years already. So I used to be with Goldman Sachs. So I run a PE fund. But as for the types of investors, you need to come back to me and say, and tell me, is it a passive investor? Is it a long term, a short term, or just they want to run the project? They want to take major equity. These are all open and basically open for discussion, actually.
Okay, so it's flexible and that's fine. Most of the investors that I would bring forward would be passive investors. They would not be looking to run the project. We would leave that to you guys. So that's more than okay. Okay, I mean, I guess if there's revisions that are coming out, we can wait for those. I have two gentlemen in mind already for this, where I think it could be a great fit.
Just quick
And that-
question, Mary. Are the two gentlemen, are they two separate funds, or they're just one investor consortium that is interested?
No, they're two separate funds.
Okay.
So, one of the gentlemen actively invest in these types of projects.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
yeah, and to be fair, they both do. So it's something that I've been waiting to speak with them about. I just wanted to make sure that we had this conversation first and make sure that it was, initially on the onset what it was supposed to be. As for the smart cities, I might mention that to them as well in passing. But I think the more urgent need here is for the storage facility.
Absolutely. In fact, to my knowledge, they're already doing some groundwork on the basis. So obviously, this is going to be taken up, and they're looking at the investment coming in, and right now immediately. So obviously, I'm grateful for Sean for setting this up. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for all of us. It's a great introduction. So Mary, Sean, I will supply you with whatever available documents. The Chinese take up notice letters, confirmation that they will take up the supply. Max has given that to me, so I can forward those to you as well, so you can see that this terminal already has customers chomping on the bits to take it, and that's why it's going to be very successful and profitable. And in the day, energy, oil, and LNG is still going to be the prominent gas supply energy for the rest of the world for the next 50 years or 100 years, despite the other clean energy that's coming on board. So it is going to be a very, very strategic port, this, because all the supplies from the Middle East, from Africa to Asia, down to China, will go through this terminal, okay, along with Singapore. Okay, so thank you, Mary, Sean, and thank you, Max, again, for coming on very, very late. I'll send you a copy of this recording. So Sean, you can listen to the first 5 minutes, which you missed, and catch up on. And I'll obviously connect you all on here. So it looks like this is a very promising opportunity that we can work together on. So obviously, let's join the dots and exchange various documents, so we can, including if you need to assign an NCA as well, we can get that process with us, and then we can talk about obviously what we all will benefit out of this, which will be obviously considerable. So thank you again. So unless there's any other Q&A, I'm going to terminate this
So
session.
sorry, Dr. Leong. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just want to add on.
Yeah.
Now, the project owner, basically also now, just give you a background of the project owner. They are also running the operation of the Universal Terminal in Singapore. So these guys are experienced in in running storage terminal. Now the next thing is that they would like to conclude this after the Chinese New Year, which is after the 15th or 16th of February. So they hope to start the project somewhere like March or early April. So we do have a schedule or a timeline that we need to follow. So if Sean and Mary, if you could come back to us when you can have the potential investor and what are their requirements and the questions that they have, we will be I'm always around to provide all this.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Max, for that clarification as well on the schedule and the time frame. So Sean, Mary, you know what's going on and the schedule on that. And if you and your group wants to be involved in this, then it's very, very active right now. So, but like I said, so let's connect. We already connected. I'll send you the information and we'll exchange whatever needed to be, so your respective investor can review it and say yay or nay. Okay, and we can move forward or not. Okay.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much, Dr. Yang.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very
Mary,
much.
thanks, Sean.
God bless
Thank you,
you all.
Mary. Thank you, Max.
Everyone stay safe.